This episode is brought to you by Pete's. Few things start your day better than a good coffee. That's why Pete's hand roast their coffee from a specific selection of high-quality beans. And they don't just put those beans into anyone's hands. Pete's trains their roasters for 10,000 hours so they can master the roast that gives you the most. Pete's Coffee. Coffee for coffee people. Find Pete's online or at your local retailer.
Hola, and welcome to Word to Your Mama, Relatives. Relatives is a podcast within a podcast. Relatives explores the true story of how a first-generation Mexican girl, that's me, Ritzy P, and a black girl, that's Naisha, meet in South Bay, San Diego and become relatives. We discuss black and brown unity, hip-hop, overcoming trauma, crazy movie-type moments, navigating this life, and so much more. Black and brown unity por vida. Relatives episodes come out once a month. That's right. We are finally back with a brand new Relatives. It's been a minute. This is Relatives 27. And because we recorded this during what is known as Hispanic Heritage Month, we get into it. That I don't like using the word Hispanic. And then I, wanted to look into it and be informed and break down the difference between Hispanic and Latina or Latina, Latinx, in my opinion. And then I also talk about how I was gone for 2 weeks in Medellin, Colombia for the Futurista event that was put on by Hola Metaverso and the University of Medellin, and how I went from there, boom, to NYC to present at the United Nations, and how crazy that is. And then I go into that whole story. That's a thing. And then we talk about how in episode 132, Relatives 26, we discuss how I met Aida Rodriguez and how she saw what we were posting about her, and talking about the release of her book, her memoir, Legitimate Kid, a memoir, coming out October 17th. And then we answer a question about growing up by Imperial Beach, South Bay, San Diego. And the devastating news that the Supernatural Bear is retiring from Word to Your Mama. Yes, I make the announcement. I made it on my solo episode, but I make it officially to his tia Naisha, my relative, and that it's just time, right? And if you have any questions, comments, we're going to be recording a special farewell retirement episode that will be dropping on October 16th, so please send those in. And then, so we get into all that good stuff. And then after that will be the Supernatural Bear Corner, the final Supernatural Bear Corner of a Relatives episode. So check that out. And then after that, an outro. Yeah. So let's get into it. Hola, welcome back. This is the first Relatives. This is Relatives 27. This is the first Relatives that we had since I took the first real break ever. So
okay.
We're coming back. And a lot of things to cover. But let me start off with this.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
For sure.
This is being recorded. This will come out in a couple of weeks. So within the span of Hispanic Heritage Month. So Hispanic Heritage Month is between September 15th and October 15th, right? And I wanted to bring it up. I'm sorry?
I think that's always weird. Like,
just do a whole month. Just do a month. Don't spread it between 2 months. Yeah, true. Sure. And so I wanted to bring it up because we are in Hispanic Heritage Month, and also because I hate the word Hispanic.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, this is good to know.
I don't use it. A lot of us don't use it. Okay. And then I was like, let's talk about it. Let's start off this episode. Let's talk about it, right?
For sure. Okay. I'm here for this.
So what I wanted to say was, let me be informed and let me not just talk out my ass. So Hispanic means a person with ancestry from a country whose primary language is Spanish. Okay. And then Latino is someone with, ancestry from a country from that their language is a Latin language, right? But it doesn't include Spain. Like, it doesn't include
I was
Spain.
gonna just say, what about Spain? And I was talking about this morning. So crazy. Because I was like, yeah, people from Spain, they're not claiming that. They're claiming European and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah, like you could be people from Spain, they can be Hispanic, but they're not Latino, Latinx.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what it
gotcha.
is. So Hispanic includes Spain, but it does not include Brazil, because Brazil, they speak Portuguese, right?
Portuguese.
But
Yeah.
Latino, it includes Brazil, but it does not include Spain. And I like that.
Okay.
So we keep it like that.
Clarities.
You know what I'm saying? But Hispanic Heritage Month includes us all, and there's visibility that people can
Even
reach out.
from Spain.
Yes,
Even
that's
people from
yes, which ridiculous, but it is what it is.
because they don't claim it. So it's like, you saying it's ridiculous? Why?
It's ridiculous because now that it's in vogue to be Latino, Latina, especially in the music industry, it's like Rosalia, like she's great, but she's Spanish. How you winning Latin American music Grammys, prizes and stuff? You're not Latina. You're not Latina.
So Latinas, Latinx, and let's clarify Latinx, that's just across the board Latin people.
Yeah, but that's not including Spain. And in Latinx,
Right.
some people don't like it. Some people like Latine. So when I first started the podcast, I had Latina, and then I went to Latinx, not because I use it, but because it's, at the time, my understanding was it was more inclusive. And now people use Latine. So now I just say Latinx, Latine, whatever you want to. We're a part of the same crew. Like,
right. Right.
I'm inclusive. It depends on who's writing it or what, it's confusing.
A little, especially if you're not that.
Right.
Just like everything else is confusing. What's your gender and what's pronoun, and it's a lot going on. But I like this explanation, because I was even confused, and I'm like, oh, Hispanic, Latina, Latino. I didn't know either.
Yeah. So that's why I like, if I'm going to, I say I'm Latina, right? It's easier for me because I identify as a woman, it's for me, it's that. So I say Latina, but when I'm talking in general terms, I say Latinx, Latina, because I want to be inclusive. Because if you want to be, as you identify, you're like, I roll hard and I go with Latinx. Sure, I don't want to exclude you. If you say, oh, I don't use that, I use Latina. Like, I want it to be inclusive, right? Like, so that's why I use it like that. But Hispanic, like, I'm all, and like, to keep it 1,000, if you if you're of a certain age and you use Hispanic, that usually tells me a lot. Like, you're real conservative. Like if you say Hispanic and you use it and you identify as Hispanic, then I feel like it's telling me you're maybe a little bit more conservative, on the conservative side.
Interesting.
And I've had these conversations. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of a red flag sometimes, right? When you're like actively using Hispanic.
I am not conservative, so I need to stop using Hispanic, because
no, we don't like it.
I mean, I'm getting schooled right here, so
yeah,
this is news to me.
So that's why, for me personally, and a lot of people in my tribe that are of Latinx, Latina, whatever, we don't roll with Hispanic at all.
Period.
Yeah. At all.
Gotcha.
So, okay. So I wanted to get that out of the way.
And I guess it's also just a little snippet. Like, people are always like, oh, what is it? Black, African American? Me personally, I just say, I like Black.
Yeah.
I don't mind Black, but Caucasians are scared to say Black. So they try to be safe and say African American, and then they get all like, someone goes off on them because they're like, I'm not African American, I'm Black. They can't win. They can't win. But it's so situational and it's a personal preference. So, you need to ask these questions to people that you deal with. Point blank, period.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Like, how do you want to be identified? Excuse me.
Is that easy?
Is that easy? Like, what are your pronouns? That easy. It's just asking the question, like, do you, if I'm not knowing, I just meet someone who's Black and I just say, what would you prefer me to say, African American or Black to identify you? Like, it's easy. Like,
that easy.
It's super easy, and it's just taking the time to ask the questions now, and
yeah.
One thing that's happened to me in this year is that I've had guests that are non-binary or, they're they, them. So when I do my intro, I've had to do it and there's no skin off of my back, but I want to make sure that I don't mess up.
You represent them like they want to be.
Yeah. So the intro part is the part where I record by myself, right? After the interview and when I'm editing, and I'd say a snippet about them, my personal experience, what I think about them, about the interview, and I give the listener, before they listen to the entire thing, a little snippet of who the person is. And so I've had to record the intro 5-6 times because I'll fuck up and I'll maybe start it with they, them, and then later on I'll say, and then she or he, and I'm like, oh, so then I have to re-record or go back to another part of it and re-record because it's just, it's like common decency. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah, it's courtesy, it's respect, it's all that.
Yeah. So, we are Gen X. And I think that there's some of us that are unwilling to change, but I feel like you and I and people that we call family, we take the time and we are like, okay, we're not perfect, but let's try.
Right.
We're not like sticks in the mud, like, well, in my
which is
day.
kind of crazy because we're not old. We're getting older, but we're not old, which I'm like, come on, people. We had our things, when we were growing up. So like, let's keep it going because that's what the world's turned into. So
exactly. Hey. Okay, so the next thing is I just got back. I'm still on East Coast time, but I just got back from 2 weeks being away, the longest I've been away from the Supernatural Bear, and I was in the longest since he's been born. Last year I was gone for a week, and then this year I was gone for 2 weeks straight, but for good cause, because we did, for Hola Metaverso, we did an event, 2-day event at the University of Medellin. It was called Futurista. It was amazing. So we had to be there early to, set up everything. And then straight from Medellin, Colombia, we flew, me and 2 other women who are part of the Women of Web3 initiative that were presenting at the United Nations General Assembly 78th Science Summit, which is still crazy that I'm saying that we did it. And we flew directly from Colombia to New York for week-long events leading up to Thursday, this past Thursday, the 21st of September. We presented at the UN. And it was historical because it was the first time anyone was approved to present on anything Web3 and new web technologies. So we were the first. We were 100% women and 70% Latina.
Okay.
Right. 90% of color, 90% of color, because we had Latina, we had Afro-Latina, we had Black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyways.
That's dope. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Applause.
Thank you.
I love it.
But what I wanted to say, and I'm not really going to post too much about it, but you're my relative, so I wanted to talk to you about it. I sent those that I love a voicemail because I was like, everyone's asking, how did it go? And those that saw live, because you could see it virtually live. So Raka and the Supernatural Bear saw it live.
Nice.
And I'm running on no sleep, right? No sleep. I've spoken before. I've memorized things. But because it was coming from organizing an event, also speaking at an event to New York on a red eye. It was like all this behind the scenes stuff that no one needs to know. It was a lot of it was a lot of stress leading up to it. So I only memorized the beginning and I only memorized the end. And I couldn't memorize the whole thing because it was so many things happening, speaking engagements prior, blah, blah, blah. But they're like, oh, you're going to have a teleprompter. And I was like, yeah, but you never know. You never know if you have a teleprompter. Like you say, but we might not. So I was like, I need to. So I was like, okay, I remember the beginning, I remember the end because there's stats and stuff. And then in the middle, I can riff because I know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But this is the United Nations. This is global.
Gotta be on point.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is an opportunity. We don't know if we'll get invited to return. So I was like, this is very important. And I was running on like no sleep. All of us were. It was crazy. So we get there. We're unable to do a run through. So we're going to do it live with the people and stuff. We're going to do it live.
Wow.
So I'm early in the schedule. I'm one of only, I forgot 4 people out of the 2 hours that's doing a solo thing. That's why it was extra stressful because everyone else was doing like a panel, right? They were going to be a panelist. Right. I could do that all day. But because it was the UN, we were all stressed out about it, like making sure, and we had a certain time limit. So we wanted to be as impactful as possible. So even if you're a panelist, it was a lot of stress. You wanted to know the answers to the questions so that you weren't like freezing and da-da-da. So anyways, I'm the first one to do a solo thing. I'm starting it off, right? So it's like intro and I see that there's the teleprompter and it's working. So then I relax a little bit. I was like, okay, but still, you never know, blah, blah, blah. Plus, it's another thing when you're in front of the camera with the light saying that it's on and the lights and you never know. You never know. So I was like, okay.
Wait, was this in front of people as well or just?
It was in front of a few people because it was closed. It was a closed set.
And okay, but not as
it's being transmitted worldwide, globally through the United Nations. So the teleprompter is cued. I could see it. It says my name. It says the title of my talk and how they're going to introduce da-da-da-da. So I get the mic. I'm like, thank you, da-da-da-da. And then the teleprompter is not moving, Nye.
I'm weak.
The teleprompter is not moving.
Oh, man.
And I'm going, so I was like, okay, I'm going to start my shit. And then it's probably going to start. And then they'll catch up. Right?
Right.
It did not, Nye. My hands are sweating right now thinking about it. My hands are sweating.
Oh, man.
So I was like, okay, if you know going in, you don't have a teleprompter, then you're like, okay, I memorized the beginning, I riff in the middle, I memorized the end, got it. Like your brain knows what to do. But when you think something's going to happen and then it doesn't happen, and then I was sweating and I remember going, oh, this is, in my brain, I think my mouth was moving and in my brain I was going, holy fucking shit, this is happening on the global stage. I can't stop. I can't say anything. This is live TV. This is live. And so I was like, okay. And then I remember
action.
I was saying the beginning, which is like a little part of it. And then I was like, so what happened was, shout out to my homegirl, Michelle Bird. She's one of the 17 women who also had a solo thing later on. She said something like, I saw her running around. Like she could see my panic and she started noticing. And so she told me after, she goes, I just saw that you were kind of like not the way you were, like you usually are. And so I knew something was wrong. And then I looked and I saw that the teleprompter wasn't moving. So then but it was already set to where all homegirl needed to do was scroll up and catch me and I'd be good. No, Nye.
Right.
No, Nye. So not only am I scrambling to figure out what I'm saying, the camera guy is like, move back, like to tell me where I need to stand in the light.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So he's telling me this, my friend's running around. Then all of a sudden, Night, the teleprompter, you know how you scroll a website and it goes real fast? The teleprompter started scrolling hella fast. And I'm going, I'm like having a meltdown. I'm going, oh my God, this is the end of everything. And I was like, holy fucking shit.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched the replay yet because I am kind of dreading the beginning.
Yes, because you know what you're going through. So, yeah.
Right? So I asked the Supernatural Bear, because he watched it live, him and his father. You know, Rocket. And I said this at another thing recently, another podcast or something. Rocket keeps it 1,000. Like, he doesn't keep it 100. He keeps it 1,000. So when I got back late on Friday, exhausted as fuck, I was like, give it to me straight. 1 to 5. 1 to 5, right? No, okay, so let me tell you the full story first. So then it's scrolling, and I'm like, my career is over.
It just started. It's over.
I was like, it's over. Like, it's over. I'm done for, right? And then my homegirl, she doesn't know where the fuck I'm at. So she just gets it to a place, and I was like, bet, lock in. And then it starts going, and then it starts coming back to me, right? And then I'm not in panic. I finish strong as fuck, passionate.
Nice.
But Nyesha, because of the panic, I'm sweating. My mouth has no more saliva, like none whatsoever. The only person that really notices is Raka, because he knows me. He's like, I saw you struggling for that saliva. And I'm going. Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
Many of us have heard of the devastating passing of Hurricane Fiona through Puerto Rico, but not many of us know of ways, or better yet, trustworthy ways to help and contribute to those in need. Fiona a través de los ojos de los niños is an NFT project featuring art made by children of the nonprofit school Flor de Loto in Ponce, Puerto Rico. Through their drawings, they've expressed their feelings and fears which they went through the hurricane. You can help these children, their school, families, and communities by minting one of their NFTs at helppr.xyz. You can also help by sending crypto directly to their wallet listed on the website, or do a donation through PayPal. The links can be found in the description. And to learn more about this initiative and how you can help, please visit helppr.xyz or via Twitter at helpprflm.
I'm trying to gather any saliva in between my teeth. So then I finished strong, right? And then I think it was in the teleprompter. I don't remember. I remember that they were like, after you're going to introduce such and such and such as in the panel. And I remember I did that, and I was like, and coming up next, boom. And I remember I walked off, and I think people were like, people that knew what was happening, what happened. I remember my homegirl Elizabeth, this amazing attorney, she hugged me and she was like, I don't know how you did, because we had to be quiet because it's a closed set, or, you know, if they could hear us. She goes, I don't know how you did that. I would have freaked the fuck out. People were like, I would have walked off. I would have frozen.
Oh my goodness.
I just remember I was like, it was such a buildup, right? Like the United Nations. And then that happened. And then my homegirl helped me. I walked outside of the building and I cried.
Oh my goodness.
I just fucking cried. I was like, I was crying because I was mad.
For relief?
It was like relief, but also like anger. Like, what the fuck? Because
like, dang, I had one chance. Like, I want to do good, and that shit.
Because homegirl was on her phone. That's what happened.
Get out of here.
No, she was on her phone.
Fired. How'd you find out she was on her phone? You saw her?
I saw her on her phone, but I thought it had to do, like, she put her phone down when it's time. Because she has a phone, and then she has an iPad that controls the teleprompter, right? Like, she could do how fast, where it's at.
Right.
So I remember I went outside and I cried, and then I called Raka because he's watching it live, right? Yeah. And I was like, he's like, I don't know what he said to me. I was just like
I need to hear your voice.
I was just like, he's like, no, but you finished strong. And I was just so upset. I was like, fuck that shit. So anyways, I went back inside. And I went to tell, my friend who's the organizer, and I was like, listen, I was like, what happened to me can't happen to anybody else. Not at all. Like, not at all. Not at all. So please believe it. When my friend Michelle, and I went to go thank Michelle, and I remember I was crying. I was like, you saved, like, I was just like, thank you so much for saving me, for seeing me that I was in a panic and figuring out what was happening. And then literally fucking saving me, because I was running on no sleep for 2 weeks. I don't know. Your brain can't function. Your brain can't function. Right. So then when it was her turn, you know where I was at when it was her turn? Right next to homegirl. She was here. She was sitting down with the thing. I was right here. And I was looking at the teleprompter, looking at my friend, looking at the teleprompter, looking at homegirl, like, fuck that shit. No one else is going down. Like, nobody else is going down. Right?
Wow. What an experience.
So yeah, so when I get home, right, I don't have time to think about it. Like, we're just so relieved it's over. Like, I didn't drink for 2 weeks because I was like, I got this event and then I got this event. So I was like, I'm not drinking. But that night I drank. And I have video. I posted a little bit of it, but there's like a 7-minute video on my phone of me and my homegirl that organized it. We're in the middle of New York in the middle of the night giving a whole TED talk about, I haven't watched the whole thing. It's hilarious. But I remember that night we were drinking. We're going from one bar to another and we were screaming. And I was going, today we spoke at the United Nations.
Girl.
We were faded. People were like probably out the window. Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
It was the middle of the night. We were like screaming. It was a whole thing. But anyways.
Fun.
So I get home and I tell him 1 to 5. Keep it real. He goes, you started at a 1 or a 2 and you ended at a 5. I was like, okay.
Nice.
So.
Hey, you finished strong. You finished strong.
That's what matters. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know I finished strong because I remember I just felt so relieved.
Felt good.
And my last words were like English and Spanish, and I ended with gracias. Like, I remember I was just like, gracias. Like, I was just so excited that I was done. So anyways, so that was that. So I'll be posting on my socials the best part of the video, the finish strong. But I once I get it all, I'll show, select few, but for the highlight reel, I'll use the, whatchamacallit. Okay.
So funny. Thanks for sharing that. That was good. That was.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck this shit. And it was like, how did it go? And I just did one voicemail and sent it to everybody so that, you would understand. But you know what people told me? And I'll take it. They said it had to be you because maybe if it was someone else, they would have freaked out and walked off or thrown it all off. Like, it had to be you to keep it together, but figure out that it was an issue and a problem.
For sure.
Like,
that's what's up. That you were the vessel, so you did what needed to be done.
And I was like, okay, I'll take that. That I get that. I could see that. Like, they're like, it needed to be you because you're professional. You've been in situations, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. So I was like, all right.
Right.
Okay. So on episode 132, the last official relatives, we posted the one where I get jumped during the break. The one where I get jumped on the way to see Menace to Society. Classic episode. Woo! People love that episode. If you haven't listened, listen to it. But the last new relatives was episode 132, and we talk about Aida Rodriguez and all that stuff like that. So I had posted videos of us talking about it and saying how tall she was and just all the stuff. And she loved it. She reposted it.
What?
Yeah. And her book that I mentioned in that story called Legitimate Kid, a memoir, it comes out October 17th. Make sure to go get it. I'll have a link in the show notes. But, I hope, the powers that be allow me to, I want to read the book and then I want to have her on the podcast. Like, I want to talk to her one-on-one. Since I already talked to her and told her how much she's helped me in dealing with meeting my biological for the first time, I want to read her book. I know it's going to be fantastic. And I want to talk about it with her, that since we both come from the same side, like, meeting our bio for the first time, find out you have all these extra siblings, like all that stuff. So listen, I'll have a link to that episode. Listen to that episode.
Okay, nice.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
So
for sure.
I didn't start the episode because you're showing me pictures. So now, halfway in, how are you doing, Relly?
Right, here we are. All these little German people in America, in the world, y'all need to stop. COVID is running rampant
Again,
and it got your girl. So with that being said, it's not as bad as the last 3 times. But
3 times? Damn.
3. But I work with the public. I try to be as careful as I can, but hey,
Right.
it is what it is. And just me, as I've always been like, my immune system has always not been the best.
Right.
Born with asthma, blah, blah, blah. So I catch everything. It seems like I catch everything. But other than that, I'm doing well. Life is good. I can't even complain, working, trying to make some moves here and there. But hey, I'm good. As the kids say, I'm Gucci. I'm Gucci.
Okay.
Not really much to report on my side. Just been working, laying low, and, trying to get some things done. That's about it.
Nice. Okay. So let's get into this question from Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, let's go.
Takinoshita, you know her. We know her.
Yes.
She's Mexican, fluent in Japanese. We met her in Japan.
Love it.
Which is amazing. And so she asked, if you haven't recorded yet, just wondering if you could shout out IB, stands for Imperial Beach in San Diego, right next to the border, and talk about your experience growing up in the town.
Okay, cool. So you gonna start? You want me to start?
You start.
Okay. For me, I didn't move to IB until, I would say 9th grade.
Right.
I moved in 9th grade. That's when I met you. So looking back on it now, it was amazing. And that's because culturally across the board, it was amazing for me, because I moved from a predominantly Black neighborhood to Mexican neighborhood. Mexican and Filipino, actually.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Yeah, Mexican and Filipino. It's just hard to say Mexican and Filipino because I feel like all of San Diego is Mexican. It's not like, but it's kind of white too. But this particular area, yeah, for sure, Mexican. And I just loved it. And it was funny. This happened just the other day. I was talking to someone and I was like, I really loved going to all of my friends' houses because I'm Black. I know what happens at my house, and nothing was really going on.
Right.
At the time, I did not feel like I had culture. And honestly, we did, but we just didn't know at the time. Like, I feel like Mexican or Asian, Filipino, or whatever other cultures did, because it was visual. Like, I could go to your house and I could see, like, I'm just gonna go to food. I could see like beans and rice, and I could see
tortillas,
these different tortillas, these different things, and even how your mom treated you and the different things that happened in a Mexican household. And you were not only you were not my only Mexican friend.
Right.
Like, when I was in private school leading up to 9th grade, everybody was Mexican. I went to school in the barrio, so I would love to go to people's house, even if it was for 30 minutes after school, because, these Mexican moms are it. They're it. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they have 2 jobs, and they're cooking good. Like, they're not just like cooking.
Right.
They're not making peanut butter and jelly
Nah.
at my. So I would love to go, and I just love to see the different things, the Filipino homes, because I'm gonna go back to visiting the Filipino home for the first time. I think you were actually with me, and I made the mistake because I'm nosy. Everybody who knows me knows I'm nosy.
Believe it.
So I was like, what's this little thing? Thought it was like a little toy slot machine. I quickly found out that it was a rice measure.
Rice dispenser.
Dispenser, but it measures the rice,
Right.
right? Like, rice dispenser. So like soon as I pressed it and the sound comes, I was in trouble because they're like, oh, my mom's going to be mad. And why are you pressing that? I'm like, I've never seen this before. So, for me growing up in Imperial Beach, total game changer. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. 2 exits from the border, going to Mexico all the time. Like, so I'm just engulfed in Mexican culture.
Right.
That, I mean, point blank. Period.
Right.
Mexican inside. My heart is Mexican. So yeah.
I love.
Well, that was my experience. It was great for me.
I love that you said that. There was a thing on TikTok, and they're like, how come we never see Mexican moms on here talking about their struggling, like, and then
we don't got time to complain.
And that's what someone said. They're like, because
time to complain.
Someone said because we had it even worse in Mexico or wherever we came from, and this is better, and we're just trying to survive, and we just do it. Like, we don't complain about it, we just do it. And I love that. That's going to be a video, a little snippet where you're like, Mexican moms are it. Like, they don't make them like that anymore. It's tough. But for me, thinking about this question, we lived right. We didn't live like right on the beach. We lived so close to the beach. We never went to the beach.
And it's funny because here too, same thing. I live near the beach. I do go to the beach now that I'm older, and I'm like, gotta do it while you can, while it's here in your face type of deal. And I even lived in Imperial Beach.
You lived like walking distance. Yep.
Walking. I could walk to the beach and still never really like, it's the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like people that live in the middle of America dream of seeing the ocean, and we're right there, but it's because we were like, I was born and raised there. It was just there, and we're trying. Also, I think now, at least for me, I'm just trying to survive. I don't got time to be like, let's go to the beach. Like, it was
let's go get a basket of food and go
and
to
have a picnic.
Beach.
No, like, it wasn't until
we were older,
until the Supernatural Bear, when I would meet his friends. One summer, we spent the entire summer at the beach. I got a whole pop-up tent for it, and I was just like, I was living by this entire time, and I couldn't. Yes. This is so calming, and this is so refreshing, and this is so, like, and I was like, wow, you never know, because
until you leave,
until you're older, you have another perspective, and you're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, it was a blessing to be born and raised where I was. That city traumatized me. I've talked about it in several episodes, and now I'm making a new relationship with San Diego. But Imperial Beach, when my address wasn't Imperial Beach. My address was San Diego, South Bay, San Diego. But when I think of Imperial Beach, I think of Oasis that we talked about, because that's literally in Imperial Beach. I think about that park across the street, going there, stuff like that, some parties.
I also think this was the outskirts of Imperial Beach, maybe because like where your Thea lived,
right?
That's like the very beginning, but I still consider that Imperial Beach. I don't know if they did.
Yeah, I don't know what the boundaries were.
It's literally like, is Imperial Beach when you get way down there? Oh, I think they call it South Bay.
Yeah, so where we lived was South Bay, and then Imperial Beach was more on the other side of the 5, like more Coronado on that side, and then you get further down where Oasis was. From that on, that's Imperial Beach.
That's crazy, because that's not that far.
No, you know how it could be a street.
Yeah.
It could be across the street as Imperial Beach, like that. So, anyways, yeah, and I don't know how it is. We know how our neighborhood looks now, the old school, and it looks like shit, but it wasn't that bad when we were there. But anyways,
at all.
It is what it is, and I hope that answers your question, Melissa.
Well, good experience for me, all the way, 100%.
So, one more thing before we wrap up this episode, Nye. I don't know if you know. I don't know where I'm at. It's been crazy months. Do you know? You don't really listen to the podcast, so you probably don't know.
Here and there, my commute's not that long, so
right.
That's when I try to get it in.
I did a solo episode talking about why I took a break and what's up and coming, da-da-da-da-da.
Listen to
And the Supernatural Bear is leaving. Word to Your Mama podcast. He's retiring.
Oh, Lord.
He's
What are we
retiring.
going to do?
Yeah. It was a matter of time. You know, he started when he was like, if you listen to the first episode, his voice is all, now it's all, hey, like it's all deep.
Oh, what a treasure.
And it's not because it just, it doesn't fulfill him. He's not into it. Now, I told him it's just time, right? He's older. You know, I'm getting the side hugs and a lot of things have been happening.
What the side hugs?
He gives me good ones, but like out indoors and out and about, the side hugs, you know, and he's like navigating that part right now where he's trying to get more independence. Oh, please believe there's been a lot of tears this year because it's been like, oh, this stops now and this transition. And I'm just like, he's like, no, but I'll stay. I go, no, don't stay because I'm crying. I'm crying because it's a time and I need to let this out. Like, you know, other parents have 2, 3 kids. I just have you. So I got to let these feelings out. You know, it's okay to cry. So anyways, he's leaving and I just wanted more people to know because a lot of people listen to just relative episodes only. And so he's leaving. So his last episode is going to be Monday, October 16th, because that's his birthday. Wow. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a special episode. He's going to be the special guest.
Okay. I love it.
And it's like the perfect send-off, right?
It is.
So I'm asking you, Nye, as his tia Naisha, but also those that are listening, and I'll put it on socials. What are some questions or comments for the Supernatural Bear? Because I want to, you know, if you send them to me, I'll read them. And I just want it to be a real good send-off to the little man. And then I talked about it in the episode that I think I'm still going to leave the Supernatural Bear Corner intro and just leave it.
Oh, cute,
you know,
for sure.
Like an homage because he started this off with me in 2020, September of 2020. So this is 3 years. We're in September. So this is 3 years.
Right on point. Right on point.
Yeah, he started in September and he's boning out right in his birthday. So yeah, really.
So I was listening to what you just said about how he's growing up and side hugs and all these different things because, you know, he's feeling different and he's like, oh, am I going to be embarrassed? And you know what comes with that.
Totally.
It just, I swear, my life is just a full circle all the time. So this is just like a small thing. This morning, I'm back on my game. I'm back in the gym, you know, first time back in the gym for a while. So I'm getting together, putting my little pods in, looking at all the TVs, which one I want to connect to. So I connect to, I saw, because I don't really watch TV like local or these shows. So it was Drew Barrymore and Pink.
Okay.
And I forget the guy's name. Anywho, you'll know him. I'll get his name later. But they were, you know, I guess it was Drew Barrymore's show. So I'm kind of just reading it because I couldn't hear it. And they were talking about just that, like, oh, with, you know, Pink was asking Drew was asking Pink, like, oh, your kids, you guys have kids. How do they deal with you when it's like, okay, bye, you're going to school, let me give you a kiss. And so Pink was saying that her son's like, you know, he doesn't want to do the kiss. So they came up with their own thing. And so they're like, okay, see you later. Like, you know, they just do whatever they do instead of like kiss. So he won't be embarrassed. And then Drew Barrymore was like, she does the forehead kiss, like the kid leans in and then they kiss on the forehead. Oh, I'm so, his name is skipping my mind right now, but he's on the side and he's just like, well, ladies, like cute little gay guy.
And he's talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's all, well, my mom used to do, I just wanted to incorporate this. Like, if my kids were younger, I would do this. And he was saying, well, my mom, because I got to that age and I was just like, so she would get my hand and kiss my hand, close it and say, here's a kiss and you can use it throughout the day whenever you need it.
Oh, that's cute.
I was like, that's super cute and like simple, but totally thought about him when you just said that. I was like, they were just talking about this today. So that's cute. It's really cute.
Yeah.
So they all growing up, but it's crazy because it comes back and then they're kind of more accepting.
Yeah,
when they
totally.
get
And I know
certain
it. And we
ages.
had a discussion, but oh no, let me tell he's gonna kill me for saying this. But so we had the sex talk, right? So I'm not gonna go
I
into
love it.
details, right? But
Right.
you know, his father had it with him first. And
Was he all like,
I don't know because I wasn't here because I was
oh,
like, have
oh,
it while I'm gone.
oh, so he did it when he was
Yeah, I was like, have it
gone.
while I'm gone, you know, because it's man to man, da 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 da, and then I'll have from the female perspective, right? And he was telling me it was cringe, even with his. He's like, at least you guys didn't say, you know, like how most parents do. I go, how do you know how most parents? He goes, you know, like on TV it says, well,
The birds and
your
the
mother and father when two people really love each other, and I was like, nah. So yesterday, I went in the bed just to talk to him, and I was like, can we talk? And I was like, this is the time. He goes, oh my God. He was like so embarrassed. He was playing the covers. And I was like, I just want to know, do you have any questions? Like, you know, this is the female, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, nah, I'm good. Like, I got it. Da, 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 da. I go, okay. I go, just to let you know, this is like an ongoing conversation. And we just want you to
right.
feel that if there's any, I don't want you to get information off the internet and off your homies. Like, if you have questions, we got these books for you. You're going to have, they're yours now. You can look up whatever you want in your own time. I go, but, you know, I also want it to be an open line of communication. And he's like, okay. Da, da. And I saw how embarrassed he was. And I was like, oh, so you're embarrassed? I was like, okay, it's time to, I'm going to go now. And I'm all sex. He was like, oh my God, no. Right? Nice.
At least you say it. Pussy.
No, I'm going to do that. But no, I was crying because then I had my phone and I was like, let's talk about sex, baby. he was trying to dig a hole in his bed. Like he was so embarrassed. And I was just crying, laughing because it was so embarrassing. I was like, oh, by the way, I go, let me find it on Spotify. And I started playing it and I was dancing. He was mortified.
Oh, that is too funny.
And I was laughing. I came out laughing and I was telling him about what happened. And I was like, I go, core memory. He's always going to remember this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the struggle. I'm glad y'all got through that. But I mean, like you say, it's ongoing and man. So did you like get into STDs and all that stuff? Like
his father did, you know, I wanted to see what his father covered, right? And then for me, it was to come from a woman's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And so that's what we did. And it's like I said, these books are dope. They're graphic novels and it covers everything from consent, gender, you know, what is non-binary, how that can be fluid and how that can change.
Yeah.
Like he was like mortified. I was like, you know what? I go, it's better you to be mortified. I go, because my mom didn't know any of that herself, let alone to have a conversation with me. We had to I go, and we didn't have internet and we didn't have phones. Like we were just literally figuring shit out on our own. And I was like, I don't want any old wives' tales for, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, if you do this, you don't have to, nah, man, nah.
Yeah, not happening. That's good though. That's good. I'm glad y'all got through it and continue to get through it. You know what I'm saying? At a certain age, you really don't have to talk about it no more, you know, boom.
Right. But I thought it was hilarious. I was singing that song and dancing. And I was doing like some whack dances too, just to make it even more mortifying. I was like,
how was he the next day? Was he still
That's today. That's today. That's today. He had forgotten all about it. And then we were having lunch and I was like laughing. I go, they're like, what? I was like, remember last night? They were rolling. They're like, we're eating. And I was like,
oh, it don't matter.
Like, yeah.
It don't matter. Yeah. Oh, man. So what's the date? Like, do you want these questions? I'm ready. I want to ask like 2 or 3 questions.
I need them by, let's see, today is the 29th. This will be coming out soon. For you, Nye, I need them by next week.
Cool.
Give them to me. But yeah. So remember, folks, peeps, we need those, you know, questions or comments of the Supernatural Bear because he's retiring.
Okay, Supernatural. It's so cute. So just you and him are going to be on talking and you're going to ask him the questions.
Yeah, he's going to be my special guest. So like I'm going to ask him like, you know, his origin story and questions and comments and then ask him the final questions that I ask everybody, the not so the slow as hell. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Whatever the questions are called.
The rapid fire.
The rapid fire questions, the AKA slow as hell questions. Yes.
That to me. Wait, what's that? Yeah, for sure.
So I'll ask him that and his song and stuff like that. So you get to know him and where he's at now that he's, 11, because that will be his birthday. So yeah. So let me know now.
Do you remember when I guessed his birthday?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember when I guessed his birthday?
Did you?
Yeah. I was like, And I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe. I was like, Bertle's the 6th, so I'm going to... The 16th. I was like, the 16th. Boom.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
Yes,
and he was
crazy.
late. He was late, and he came out that day. He was asking me, he's like, the other day, he's like, was I a day late or a couple of days late? Or like, I think it's a couple of days late.
You don't remember?
No, I just remember it was so traumatic. I remember that he was supposed to come out that weekend. That's why Erin and her parents came down, because he was supposed to come out that weekend.
What was traumatic? Wait, having the baby?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of know like how you're feeling, but I didn't know you felt like it was traumatic or that it was traumatic.
Oh, yeah, because you weren't there.
No.
You didn't come until after. Because I thought I knew better, and I did not know better.
I didn't know it was traumatic though. I'm like learning new shit.
Yeah, it was traumatic
because of the feelings and all the hormones and all that.
No, the whole thing. Like I had no sleep. Like they were like, homegirl couldn't get the epidural, and then
all these things happening made it traumatic.
Yeah, like the whole birth thing. Yeah, the whole what they had to do and all that stuff. Yeah. Murder scene.
Wow.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Okay,
and losing a lot of shit.
Blood.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, you should get a transfusion. The blood is pretty clean. No. Pretty clean? No, thanks.
I'll die first.
Yeah.
What?
Pretty clean.
Who says that? Oh my gosh.
Nah, B.
I'm good.
So yeah.
I'm good.
All right, Relly. So until next time.
And this has been real. I loved it. I love the questions, and I don't know, people aren't giving me questions. I'm gonna have to start collecting questions from my people.
Questions for your peoples.
Tap in and give me some questions. I need to know. I need to ask. I need to answer.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, Relly.
For sure.
Love ya.
All right. Bye. Sayonara.
Bye.
And now introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner.
Supernatural Bear.
Greetings, gentlemen. So, this is going to be my final relatives. Don't ask why. Yeah, I'll say that coming soon. So, I just want to nerd out real quick. So, I have a theory, okay? So, this theory is about the Darksaber. So, essentially, pre-Vizsla, okay? We have pre-Vizsla, and then a bunch of stuff happens. So, eventually, Darth Maul has the Darksaber, making him the ruler of Mandalore, okay? So, but then Obi-Wan kills him in Star Wars Rebels. So that makes Obi-Wan the rightful ruler. But then Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker kills Obi-Wan, which makes Vader the rightful ruler. And if you really want to get, if you really want to get really deep, then you could say that Luke Skywalker, since he defeated Vader, that he would be the rightful ruler of Mandalore. So yeah, that was just a random 11-year-old, 10, like 3/4-year-old child, basically 11-year-old child, nerding about a fictional universe for, what, like 2 minutes straight. Alright, bye.
Blue Shooby-Doo. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 142, Relatives 27. The final relatives with an actual new Supernatural Bear Corner. I'm not crying. I'm not tearing up. I will be tearing up at the last episode for sure. Make sure to send in your questions and comments regarding the supernatural bear and his departure, his retirement. Well deserved. You know, he's preteen now. He's got things to do. Well deserved. He's leaving on a high note. So we have this Supernatural Bear Corner, and then next week, and then after that will be his final episode. So get your questions and comments in, folks. Yeah, it's still crazy. Like today has been a week, maybe. A week and a couple of days. I'm finally back on West Coast time. It was a doozy. And I think all of us were feeling, especially Sandy and Gigi, because we were in Medellin together for the week, and then hardly any sleep, boom, red eye to New York, no sleep for the week. Then we do our thing and then we bone out. So I think it kind of took us a while. I think my body was like, yo, the come down, the decompression, all that stuff. So anyways, it's been crazy, but just to think, prepare to be sick of me. That's the real deal, because it feels like a dream. It feels like it didn't happen, but it did happen. And just when I write about it or I say it, or the United Nations, it's still crazy. Anyways, thank you so much for supporting this. You know all the ways you can support if you've been a long-time listener. You can, tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. That's free. Leave us a review for sure. That helps us get noticed. Also, if you want to go to our online store and buy yourself a trinket or two, that's always welcome. And then you can also become a patron through Patreon. You heard the promo during the episode. Also, you can buy us a whiskey buy us a coffee. And all the different ways. So we appreciate it and know that we are excited for the rest of the year episodes that we have pre-recorded and that we're going to be dropping. Because there's some quality peeps doing some amazing things, and all the different sectors and the different industries. So make sure to tune in. And, if you got any questions or comments for me, let me know. If you have any suggestions, you need to have a convo with da-da-da-da-da, let me know. It's just an email, a DM away. All right. As always, we reap.
Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. If you want to know more, want to email us, you want to get the media kit, go head over to wordtoyourmama.com. Word to Your Mama is now part of the Latina Podcasters Network. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by RitzyPeriwinkle.com.
Make sure to follow Word to Your Mama on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your podcasts, or download the Latina Podcasters Network app.